Jamal Murray is even better than you may remember. Jamal and the Denver Nuggets are coming off an extremely impressive NBA championship victory this previous season in a finals matchup where Jamal individually completely went off and played a significant role for why the Nuggets were able to win the championship last year. And at this point, although I think many understand that Jamal is a great player out there, I don't necessarily think they understand how good of a player Jamal Murray truly is. But quickly, before we get the video started, for those of you who may not know, I'm Juicy Sports. I make opinionated NBA content, and if you guys enjoy videos similar to this, hit that subscribe button, that like button, and that post notification bell. I also want to quickly mention that I recently started up an MMA channel, and if you guys are interested in that, the link will be in the description. But anyways, let's get into it. Jamal Murray was originally drafted with the number 7 overall selection during the 2016 NBA draft by the Denver Nuggets. And originally when Jamal was getting drafted, there was a ton of hype and excitement around his name. He was a guy that was an extremely good shooter, but also had a lot of other great abilities to his offensive game, making him a really talented scorer out there. But although there was a ton of excitement about his individual scoring ability, there were some concerns. And the main concern about him coming into the NBA was the fact that he was kind of in that weird position where he was a combo guard. He was the size of a point guard but had the scoring ability of a shooting guard. And teams didn't necessarily know if Jamal could truly run an NBA offense at that next level. But regardless of those concerns, the Nuggets still ended up drafting him pretty high in that year's draft, 7th overall. And in his first official season with the Nuggets, Jamal played pretty well, I'd say. He averaged 10 points per game on 2.6 boards and 2.1 assists. And in his first initial season, although those numbers don't necessarily jump out at you, Jamal was doing a really nice job at showing flashes in certain games and in certain stretches of what he could potentially be in the long-term future. And after a pretty solid rookie season, he had somewhat of a breakout season in year 2, as he bumped his numbers up across the board, averaging 16.5 points per game on 3.7 boards and 3.4 assists. And in his second season, Jamal was doing a much better job at not only showing that scoring ability in flashes, but being a lot more consistent with it. And after his second season with the Nuggets, a lot of people realized and recognized that the Nuggets had a really promising young player on their roster. Now, after a promising second year, Jamal did really well in year 3 as well, jumping his numbers up once again slightly. And going forward from there, Jamal just consistently improved his game season after season. And at that point, it was pretty clear that Jamal was a special young talent. But although he was consistently getting better each and every season, and although it was clear that he was going to be a mainstay with the Denver Nuggets, there was still one major issue that was holding Jamal Murray back. And that major issue was injuries. After being relatively healthy throughout his first 3 NBA seasons with the Nuggets, the following 3, and more specifically the 2 seasons after that, Jamal was dealing with a bunch of different injuries. He was dealing with a lot of different lower body injuries, whether you talk about the ankle, whether you talk about the foot, but at the beginning, a lot of these injuries were somewhat manageable and weren't necessarily significant injuries. But with that being said, those little injuries could add up over time, and at the end of the day, Jamal still was missing a significant amount of time due to those injuries. But after some time has passed after that, then Jamal got a significant injury, which was a torn ACL. And an ACL injury is really significant because A, it's going to keep you out for an entire season, but even when you come back from that injury, you're probably not going to feel all that comfortable on it for probably another season following that. So when a player tears his ACL, but especially a player who's as young and as talented as Jamal Murray was, tears his ACL, that's obviously a significant injury and a significant hit to his career. And at the time of that significant injury, a lot of people had the same view of Jamal Murray. He was a really talented young player for the Denver Nuggets that had a promising future, but he was getting injured a lot, and those injuries could potentially shorten his career. But luckily for the Denver Nuggets, after coming back from that ACL tear, Jamal looked better than ever. As the following 2 seasons after that, he had career years, averaging 21 and 20 points respectively, but most importantly in the playoffs, Jamal Murray was playing his best basketball. During the 2020 NBA bubble, Jamal was playing phenomenally, as he was doing a great job at not only scoring for himself at a ridiculously high level, but he was even facilitating for his teammates at times as well. But more recently, in this previous year's playoffs, where the Denver Nuggets went all the way to the NBA Finals and actually won, a huge reason for why the Nuggets Nuggets were able to be so successful was due to the play of Jamal Murray, specifically in the finals where he looked unstoppable. And in my opinion, that's a real value with Jamal Murray. He's a guy that's going to have really good regular seasons and probably improve his numbers as the seasons do progress, but he's going to play his best basketball where it matters most, in the playoffs, but even more specifically in the NBA Finals if the Nuggets are able to make it there. And at this point, all those concerns that people had coming into the NBA about Jamal being a potential combo guard aren't necessarily held to be true, because even though at this point teams don't necessarily care about that as much as they used to in the past, Jamal Murray also has Nikola Jokic on his team that does most of the passing and playmaking anyway. So I kind of feel as if it's a perfect situation for Jamal to focus on his individual scoring ability and do what he does best. But even with that being said, Jamal has done a really nice job at improving his overall passing and playmaking ability and being a productive point guard in that aspect of his game as well. So at this point, I think we all know that Jamal Murray is a special talent, but the question that some of you may be having at this point is, why do I think he's even better than a lot of people think? Well, the first thing I want to touch upon is his overall numbers. Now, when you look at Jamal's numbers over the past couple seasons, it is pretty clear that he's getting better season after season, but when you see in his best season he was averaging around 20 points per game on pretty efficient shooting numbers as well, you may think that Jamal Murray is a pretty good player out there, an above average guy for sure, but I don't necessarily think those numbers would suggest how good Jamal Murray truly is. He's a guy that can legitimately put up 40 points on relatively efficient shooting numbers on any given night. But even besides his scoring numbers, I also think his assist numbers are a little bit lower than his actual talent would suggest as well. Because even at this point, although I wouldn't necessarily say Jamal Murray is a great passer and playmaker, he's done a really nice job over the years at consistently getting better in that aspect of his game as well. And at this point, I think he's more than capable of running an NBA offense, even if he wasn't on a team that had Nikola Jokic on it. So overall, the first reason for why I do think Jamal Murray is still at this point a little bit underrated is due to his overall regular season numbers. Now, the next reason why I think Jamal Murray is a little bit better than people may expect is due to how versatile he is offensively. Now, when you look at Jamal Murray, it's pretty clear that he's a tremendous shooter out there. He has a tremendous ability to hit that catch and shoot three-point jump shot, sidestep, step back, crossover. He even has a really nice mid-range game out there with a nice one dribble pull-up, even a post turnaround fadeaway. But even besides his great shooting ability, Jamal also has a tremendous ability to finish around the basket with crafty layups. And I actually think that's something that people can forget at times just based upon how great of a shooter he truly is. But the fact that Jamal is such a great shooter is something that he utilizes effectively to blow by his initial defender and finish around the basket with crafty layups as well, making him an extremely versatile scorer out there. So overall, at this point, I think most people realize and recognize that Jamal Murray is a great player out there. But even with that being said, I do think there were a couple factors for why I thought Jamal Murray was even better than people may expect. But one thing that I will say is I'm also extremely excited to see where Jamal Murray's career goes forward from here after an historic finals performance for him this previous season. But anyways, let me know what you guys think in the comments. Do you think Jamal Murray is a little bit better than some people may expect, or do you not think so? But anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed the video, and if you did enjoy it, check one of these two videos popping up now. And until the next time, peace out, guys.